Joining me now, Stories podcast host Natalie Brunell. Natalie, I know you don't like to predict how far Bitcoin is going to go near term. I know long term you think it's unstoppable, but I do want your thoughts on just how it's reacted during this really critical time where bonds were getting hammered, stocks were getting hammered, gold was moving sideways, nothing was winning except Bitcoin.
That's right. Well, the Bitcoiners are trying to front run the institutions before that spot Bitcoin ETF gets approved. And I'm certainly one of them. I heard someone in your show recommending that 40% bond portfolio. I will not be following that. I'm going to be investing in Bitcoin because knowing what they're going to have to print, I want to be in a scarce asset and this digital network.
Before we talk about these institutions that are poised to jump in, let's talk about the Gen Zers, right? The article here recently about retirement being overrated, Gen Z are saying as soft savings trend holds. I mean, is this something that's considered a soft savings trend?
I think a lot of people are just foregoing planning for the long term, and we could berate these Gen Zers or we could try to understand them. And the truth is, this is really a symptom of broken money. And I think you would agree that incentives drive outcomes. And when our money is broken and real wages don't keep up with the cost of housing, education, retirement, then what is the incentive to work hard? If you work hard but can't retain the value of that work, then it's really hard to find meaningful purpose. And what do people with no purpose do? They distract themselves with pleasure and experiences. And so what I think these younger generations really lack is economic hope that the future will be better if they work hard. I mean, in the 70s, you could have a one-income household purchase a nice home, afford a nice middle-class life. And today, young people are seeing that even two incomes plus a side hustle doesn't make ends meet. So I think that's skewing the value system, even the morality. And what young generations really need is Bitcoin. They need to be able to save and plan for the future with a form of money that can't be manipulated. Fix the money, fix the world, Charles.
You know, it's so funny because with the Gen Zers and so forth, they must also be angry. Every day there's memes come out, and you just kind of triggered one in my head where the couple bought a house for $61,000, didn't put any repairs into it, sold it for $1.7 million to a hedge fund, and then complained why these younger folks won't work harder. So I was just reminded of that. There's another aspect to this too, though, and the world is on fire. Let's face it, and it's probably going to get a whole lot worse. And you say that Bitcoin is the currency of peace. Explain that.
Sure. So with fiat, if people in power want to finance a war, they can just print the money and spend it. But if you can't just make money at the stroke of a key, then you have to ask permission of the citizens to spend their money. And so that would limit the government's ability to fight endless wars. And so I agree with those out there who say that fiat is the currency of war and Bitcoin is the currency of peace, because Bitcoin is about consensus. And with the incentives in Bitcoin, they benefit those who cooperate and play by the rules and put in the work. Bitcoin actually neutralizes greed because everyone who supports, mines, or buys Bitcoin adds to the overall strength of the network. And so most importantly, instead of projecting this sort of kinetic power and going to war as a sign of strength like America has done for many, many decades, why don't we go back to the value of building a prosperous and robust economy as a sign of strength that serves as an example for other nations and other people to emulate. We used to lead by example because great economies are what make great nations. And that is what the American dream was built on. And I think we can return to that with Bitcoin.
Great stuff there, Natalie. Thank you very much. Talk to you again real soon.
Thanks for having me.